Hello buddy, this is Purge, bringing you guys the first person replay commentary, and I'm going to be doing it on Centaur, which I haven't done in about 10 months I think. People ask me about that. If there's any other heroes that I haven't made a video of in a really long time that are not Pudge, Meepo, or Shadow Fiend, then please let me know on Twitter. That's the best way to remind me of heroes that I haven't played in a while. So I do random a lot, but I oftentimes will trade away Shadow Fiend and Pudge if I do get them. So I will do Meepo eventually, I promise. It just might take a while. So anyways, a couple things about the Centaur. I did pick him really early on in this game. My original plan was to do a safe lane farmer role, kind of like a hard carry Centaur role. It's not exactly the most typical of laning styles. You kind of have to play him a little different. I have been beaten by really good players that did a farming Centaur, and I don't really define myself as really good to the point where I can do a hero against players of my skill level in a role that they probably shouldn't be playing. So maybe it wouldn't have worked out in the end if this happened, but basically what ended up happening was one of our allies picked a Juggernaut because he didn't know where I was going to lane. So we ended up with a Juggernaut as well as a Centaur. So I'll talk about how this messed up our plans in just a little bit. But a couple things about Centaur. He is recently buffed. Within the last 6 months or so. His ulti in the past used to just give him strength, basically. Now it gives you an ability that makes everybody on your team run for max movement speed, and as you pass through enemies, it gives you phase. It will slow them. It used to do a stun, but now it does a 100% movement speed slow, and it does a slow duration and some damage based on how much strength you have. So it does a strength multiplier of damage. So it's kind of a weak nuke early on, but it's mostly used to gap close so that you can actually initiate without having a blink dagger. In the past, you would be forced to get a blink dagger to be able to initiate with Centaur, and that would kind of limit him a lot because you would have to get a blink and then you'd get tank items afterwards. But once you got a blink, it was pretty good for comboing. You can do it other ways using Tiny, for example. You can throw Centaur on top of somebody to stomp and then double edge. Another method being Tuskar works as well. You can snowball the Centaur in with Tuskar and then get the stomp off that way. So, first skill is Hoof Stomp. It does a 2-second stun. It is only 85 mana at level 1, and the scaling is really not very good for stun duration. The magic damage does go up, and the mana cost also goes up a lot. So keep in mind that leveling this up a lot early can be very taxing for your mana pool. So anyways, I'll go over the other skills and I'll talk about the laning setup. Double Edge is the second skill. It's a magic nuke that damages himself and your opponents. You can reduce this by getting a hood because it does magical damage. So if you grab a hood, then it does less damage to yourself than your opponents. But usually the point is that you have a lot more HP than your opponents and use it at a crucial time where you should be able to get a kill or burst somebody down. His third skill is Return. This is a passive. Whenever somebody goes to attack Centaur, this is as soon as they start their animation, like immediately when you right-click somebody, you will take some physical damage knockback, which is based off a damage number as well as a strength bonus damage. So the more strength you have, the more this returns, and obviously it does scale a little bit better as you put more skill points into it. His final skill is Stampede. We talked about this. Just makes you run really fast. So mistake I made. First of all, I thought I was going to be farming at the start of the game, so I picked up Hoof Stomp, and now I end up going to the jungle with a bunch of regen. And the problem with this is that if you actually do jungling on Centaur, it's best to grab Return at level 1, because then every time the creeps attack you, they take, like, how much damage is this? A fourth of this. That's like about 5 or 6. So they basically take about 20 damage every time they attack me. Instead, I'm doing this super slow attack one at a time. It would make a big difference if I actually had Return level 1. So that was the first big mistake that I made. Actually, we have Prophet jungling on the high ground over here. I didn't even realize, but yeah, it's much better to get Return at level 1, or preferably just actually farm in your lane, because this is going to limit me pretty heavily. So, to make matters worse, I actually don't have, I didn't buy any support items, so we do have wards on the map at least, but I didn't get a sentry, you know, stuff like that. Could have been really useful. So, looks like Lena's keeping Clockwork out of EXP range at least. So for now, I'm basically just going to try to get as much experience as possible. I'll basically only be able to kill the small camp until I hit level 2. And even when I hit level 2, we'll see if I'll be able to kill that. But me ganking isn't really a possibility, especially against the Clockwork, and our dual lane isn't really strong enough to be able to allow me to find range and pick off some camps, or some a hero like Clockwork. So it would be really difficult for me to score any kills on ganks right now, unfortunately. I do attempt some later using smoke, because smoke lets you get a lot closer than you should be able to get. But yeah, it helps out a lot. Smoke is a big deal. I've actually been buying smoke a lot more the last couple games, so I'm going to pick up the illusion rune because our mid is a puck, and I believe he had a full bottle already, so I figured he didn't want to bother coming over here for the illusion, so I'm going to pick it up. And the nice thing about the illusion rune is that it's actually pretty good damage output. Every illusion in melee, I believe, does about 33% damage, which means that I'm doing slightly more damage over time to these creeps. So I'm going to have them tank for a while, and as soon as they get to a point where they're about to die, I'll just take the aggro back on my main hero, and I'll just use them as an extra damage source. So I pick up return finally, so now whenever they attack me, they will take damage, you will see it. And I should be able to kill the small camp again. Wow, that Nature's Prophet legitimately did just sit there in jungle the whole time. It's kind of funny.
First blood.
That's funny. He's on the high ground and I had no idea. Well, I had no clue that he was up there. That's kind of funny. I legitimately stopped his jungling. Actually, I think I left the camp alive. I can't remember. That's right. I came back here to salve. Oh, he's attacking it. That's hilarious. I actually helped out his jungle because I killed the creeps a lot. I decided that I really didn't want to kill those because they were taking too much. I was taking too much damage, so I decided to back off. So that's pretty funny. He got to kill it instead. I had no idea that I was being watched. So pretty convenient for Nature's Prophet that I left all those for him. I ended up taking a lot of damage from the small camp anyways, so. So since Puck left the lane very momentarily, I decided to take the mid lane. Not that I got any experience out of it, of course, but I'm going to purchase some boots now, I believe, so that I can do some ganking maybe. My EXP is starting to get really far behind at this point, so this is pretty costly. So I will buy a smoke. I think my plan was to gank the mid lane. I unfortunately don't have double edge yet, but just landing the stun for 2 seconds should allow me to do about 200 damage. And since Puck does have a lot of nuke damage, it should give me a pretty decent possibility of getting a kill here. So what basically needs to happen is I need to wrap around. I need to wait till the Invoker preferably comes into the river, and then I can sneak around and snag him. He's actually at really low HP here, at about half. And I was checking Puck's EXP in just a second. He's about to hit level 6. So the plan was wait till Puck hits 6, and as soon as Puck hits 6, he's going to go for the ulti. And if he ultis the Invoker, then we should be able to go in on him. So I'm just waiting until he hits 6. He hasn't hit 6 yet, and after this range creep, he's going to hit 6. There he goes, he hit 6. And I went in, and his ulti wasn't there. So he made some excuses later about not hitting 6 until that creep, but there was a good, like, half of a second or so that I was anticipating him hitting 6, where he should have gone in. If he would have ultied immediately upon hitting 6 there, the Invoker would have been caught at the top of his hill, and I probably would have been able to get in range for a stun. But as I went in, he didn't skill it up, and then I was sighted because my smoke disappeared. Like, the positioning was there. We needed to get that kill. It was really important because I was really behind on EXP, and I spent a smoke on that, so that was unfortunate. I didn't know who the guy was, just some random pub, but missed the kill. So, absolutely his fault. I have no... After watching it the second time, I have no doubt in my mind. He was really late to ulti. Really late. Looks like we've got a DD on the bot lane.
Dire's top tower is under
Timber
attack.
Sauce scoring a kill against the gyrocopter. So I'm going to pick up Double Edge now. This gives me a little bit more variety in what I want to do. This does 175 magic damage, so you can use this on creeps to farm sometimes if you get some HP regen. That can be one of your options. I didn't really pay good attention to my ally there. I definitely should have prepared to go in after he got cogged in, but I thought he was going to be fine there, so that was partially my mistake. He thought his allies were around, and we kind of were, but not completely. That's a level 7 clockwork, so that's what usually happens when people don't contest the offlane properly. If the offlane doesn't get contested, then he ends up getting a level advantage over your solo hero, and a clockwork can usually force an error and get a kill on your hard carry, so it's definitely a hero that needs to get forced out. I must have been alt-tabbed or something, or typing. Yeah, I think I was typing during this. And now he is back, so I have to get the farm back to him. So
Dire's middle tower is under
pretty much
attack.
doing anything I can to try to get some EXP and gold right now. Again, since the laning style that we did. I mean, you shouldn't even jungle Centaur in the first place, honestly, guys. It's not really that worth it. He's not a very good jungler. He can do it with return, but it's really not that good. Not something that I recommend at all. It's just like the melee stunner aspect is just kind of hurts you a lot. We got 2 levels of double edge now. I'm gonna max this out again. The hoof stomp doesn't scale extremely well. The stun duration is barely touched, and the damage does go up, but that's about it. So the reason I picked up, I'm grabbing more double edge because it gives me more nuke potential at a lower cooldown, and it makes me completely mana unreliant essentially. Because hoof stomp costs 85, I can cast this almost 3 times before I'm out of mana, and I can do double edge as many times as I want. And since I have no money to buy any good items, this puts me in a spot where essentially I won't be able to cast a lot of utility or stuns or anything. I probably should have just ditched him there. That would have been better. If I would have ditched him instead of staying, then I would have survived, obviously, but I didn't anticipate their whole team being there. Clockwork was obviously invisible, and then the Invoker shifted over, which put us in a bad spot, so I have now died once. I've accomplished very little, other than getting some EXP. I'm level 4 now. And coming back from this point is really difficult usually because you're a tanky hero. Well, I'm not that tanky because I'm only level 4, but I'm a relatively squishy hero. I have some disables, but not that much. And I need to be able to get something somewhere, basically. Now, you can do what they do. You can go ganking with somebody. That's usually a pretty good try, or a really good thing that you can do. I decided to go grab some EXP in lane, but then I realized that the Clockwork is 4 levels ahead of me. He actually has more HP than I do, despite me being Centaur. So it's really, really scary right now. I have to be really careful about the clock. Although Lina is shifting around, so maybe we can get a disable off here. Luckily, he missed his cogs. And he also went aggressive, so... At this point, I want a double edge, if possible. Alright, good. And they picked up the kill, which gives us a little bit more experience and some gold. So, that's pretty good. I think Tranquil Boots, especially if you're playing more of a supporty Centaur, is absolutely required because it is by far the cheapest way to get movement speed as well as HP regen. And this is the same for a lot of heroes, actually. Heroes like Axe, for example, are very similar. I also have my ulti, so I need to be a little bit more aware of my allies on the map because I can possibly save them or help them gank. Pretty important. But yeah, the Tranquil Boots are so nice because you're going to use double edge offensively on creeps or heroes or whatever. So you need to be able to get the heals. And what looks like we're going for a gank on the top lane, so teleporting in here, and I should be able to stampede this. And I did very little other than stampede, but I got some EXP and some gold from this, so... One benefit of a hero like Centaur is that you can use your ulti to most likely get a kill off every time that it's off cooldown, so this is at least one way that you should come back. You can't just passively farm on a hero like this, because you're not going to be able to outcarry somebody on a hero like Centaur. You need to grab the ganks. So if I was playing him in more of like a hard carry role, I would probably get a really fast blink dagger with Tranquil Boots, and that'll probably go gank heroes like the Invoker, for example, because Invoker's a pretty easy kill. He doesn't have that much escape. If I can blink on top of him with another hero and do a combo for about 500 magic damage, we should be able to pick him off, hopefully. So, looks like we're trading towers. We're pretty okay with this right now. I did get the last hit, which is useful. Puts me slightly closer to blink. And I've also bought a magic stick, just a stick, because I'm poor and I want some burst mana regen or HP regen for the future, just in case, essentially. So there you go. You can double edge creeps pretty easily. He's actually a really good farmer in the jungle once you get a hood, because you can double edge every 8 seconds. If you have a hood, again, it does reduce damage, so it only ends up doing like 200 damage to you instead of 300, something like that. I don't know the math exactly, but I think it's probably about 200. So you're doing 425. You take about 200. It's a really good trade. And then you can regen it back up because you're getting 10 HP regen per second. So. Alright, he is way dead because he got hooked, so... And it looked like our Timbersaw actually wanted to fight this, so I was considering coming over. Didn't look very good to me. I didn't actually want to fight that, I think. We did actually see Clockwork go down, and the DD on Puck ends up picking up both kills, so... A little too safe for me, maybe I could have showed up for that. I'm also, I don't have a TP scroll right now, so unfortunately I'm not able to defend the bot tower, but I don't think I would have been able to anyways. It's is that Prophet and Elder? Yeah.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And again, Tranquil Boots to stay healed up. I can make another play somewhere because I have my ulti again. Free gold. Not sure how well the Jug is doing. I seem to remember he had a pretty good early game, and then after that it went a little weird. I'm going to start leveling up Hoof Stomp now, absolutely. Grabbing more levels of return this early is not worth it. I think I'm reflecting pretty good damage right now, so like a fourth of this, which is like a little bit under 15, like 14 damage. I'm reflecting like 30 physical damage every time somebody attacks me, which is pretty good. It is good to boost up your strength as well, just because it'll give you more return reflection. But usually you don't really have the option of buying strength items on a hero like Centaur, because you got to get a Blink Dagger. You want to have, I guess an Urn is actually really good. I don't know if anybody on my team has an Urn, but I think I maybe should have built an Urn this game. I think Valina was actually building one, but an Urn wouldn't be a bad choice because you get six strength, you get a little mana regen, and you have a way to heal back up. So I ended up smoking in the base because I wanted to get a gank off on the top lane. Unfortunately, we were a bit late here, so I was kind of unsure if I wanted to fight this. Our smoke got removed. Actually whiffed my stomp there. We're able to pick up a lot of kills though. And again, the Stampede did damage, the Puck had a great initiation, and it allowed us to kill a bunch of heroes that I don't think we should be able to, honestly. I feel really behind. Or at least I was very behind this whole game, so... I ran in, I went for the stomp. They actually Delta split it out of that one, but... The healing ward's really nice with Centaurs though, because my HP is so high. Prophet ended up surviving. I believe he doesn't have boots, by the way. I don't think he ever bought boots this game, I'm pretty sure. You should buy boots, guys. And you also shouldn't go to the high ground in jungle like this, because it's a little slow. So, now I've got 1600 gold. I'm going to probably get more mana here. Maybe pick up a TP scroll. That way I can go jungle somewhere and possibly gank, if needed. My ulti is off cooldown in about 50 seconds, so I can go for a kill then. Again, this is doing like, what, 50 damage right now? So yeah, strength multiplier. It's at 1. That was a lot of ultis for one hero. Small camp is a pretty good place for me to just jungle, because they don't do a whole lot of damage, and I can just double edge if I really want to. And basically I just have to play really patient until I get my Blink Dagger. Once I get Blink Dagger, I'm going to be a lot stronger as a hero, because I can actually initiate and guarantee my Hoof Stomps land. But until now I have to just kind of play really safe for 300 gold. Pretty scared about the mid lane right now, because I know I could get tornadoed or could get cold snapped or something like that, or hookshotted, for example. If I got hookshotted, I would definitely die. So I don't want that to happen. I do have Stampede though, so if we can get initiation on somebody. Alright, we got an Invoker. Cool. So we picked up everybody who worked out. was able to chase down the Invoker. And again, healing ward's down, so I might as well use a double edge. So my HP will be healed back up anyways, and a blink dagger is finished, so now things are okay. I've been able to get a lot of EXP from participating in ganks, just being around stuff. I haven't been able to get a lot of CS, but I'm at a point where I don't really need to get any more levels for the rest of the game. I could honestly just survive like this. Hitting level 10 gives you 1 stampede. Getting the stampede cooldown lower is really, really useful, and obviously does more damage as well, but just having the blink up right now is super nice. I was trying to look to see if I wanted to blink on one of these guys, but
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
so looking for opportunity, didn't find one, no big deal. Now I go back to the jungle. I think I bought a wand here and maybe like an extra TP scroll. Looks like somebody's dying maybe. Is really dead. See, they just kind of die. They try to hit you, and they explode. Really kind of wanted to go in on this, but my HP is still really low. I'll level up, get another stampede. The stampede used to do a stun on the pass through. Is really, really good. The cooldown of the stampede was like 60 seconds at all level as well. It was way too good. You could kill like anybody at level 6 with like 2 stomps and 2 or 3 levels of double edge. Kind of turned Centaur into a bit of a tiny when he should be a slightly different playstyle. He doesn't have as much burst damage, but his stun is definitely better, that's for sure. So anyways, my stun duration is really high. I've got blink. From here I should focus on tanky or utility items. One common Centaur item is a blade mail, just because you'll often take a lot of damage. I did end up getting one this game. I don't think I used it very well though. I made a lot of mistakes on it. There's a lot of heroes in the bot jungle, so I'm gonna go shift over, see if I can do anything.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I wanted to catch somebody here. Missed my stomp because of the battery assault. So I think we're just gonna back from this. Didn't even get to attack him. Ended up blocking that camp. It's definitely a little too greedy to probably blink blind. I knew that the Elder Titan was probably there, or that a hero was, because the creeps were pulled to the right. So I knew if I blinked on, I'd probably be able to catch somebody. But then I hesitated a little bit. Kind of put me in a bad spot. But I just used my ulti to get away from the cold snap, and then it was no big deal.
Dire's bottom tower is
and stopping the Elder Titan stomp is really important, because then he can't do his combo, basically. So I'm gonna go stack the Ancients, because I can't really farm anything right now. Might as well. Just Prophetess killed Juggernaut, they denied the tower bot. You should never commit to a tower as a carry, by the way. It's absolutely not worth it. If you watch any pro level player playing, whenever they're a carry, usually, and they're pushing a tower like that, what they end up doing is, as soon as it gets glyphed, they just run away. They don't even try it. It's not worth it, because if somebody glyphs it, they're watching, which means that they're willing to TP to probably contest it. And the Juggernaut just lost so much by doing that. First of all, he died, and then he was just an idiot, and he bot backed. There's absolutely no reason to buy back there. He was like, oh, I can farm back the gold fast enough, but there's no way that's reasonable. Let's see how much gold he probably wasted. He probably wasted like 700 gold, basically. So he kills this camp, that's like 800 gold, something like that. That's basically all he gained from it. And yeah, he's going to be alive for when they push in, and he got slightly more EXP as a result, but buying back is a juggernaut carry when you're versus these kind of carries. It's really not good. Puts him quite a ways behind. So BKB is finished on Gyro. I have 1200 gold. I could make a Force Staff next. That's not. It's also another good item that you can make on Centaur. I think the Blink is pretty necessary for initiating well, but grabbing a Force Staff is not a bad choice. Especially both together would be nice, because that way I could blink it and stun and double edge, and I could force myself out, especially if I get cold snapped or something like that. There's just so many situations where I think grabbing a Force Staff is really worth it. So for now, I'm going to buy some wards. I should have been warding most of this time, actually. So I put the smoke in the courier, and I'm going to go put some wards down. I know Lena's probably a little taxed because I haven't bought any yet. But the problem is that my hero definitely needs more farm than a Lena does on average. So I wasn't really playing in the correct mindset to do warding and things like that. So I like putting wards putting wards there sometimes if your enemies are pushing your tier 2 tower, because it covers you from a common ambush point. So I think based on the map right now, I would like a ward here, and I would also like another ward like about here, or maybe on that spot. We'll see where I place it at, but
double damage.
I just want to kill those because it keeps the vision off the map, and it's a little gold that I wouldn't get otherwise. So I'm going to place one ward here. So now this puts a little bit of a barricade around the outside of my towers, which is usually where you want your wards to be, depending on how aggressive your opponents are right now. If they're slightly ahead of you, usually you want to put a safe ward down. I really wish that guy would have not just blinked down like that. It was really stupid. Like, we could have gotten a kill. It's like one thing you notice in some players, they're not quite strong enough at ganking, where he just decided to orb to the low ground, for example. If he just got to the low ground and then blink initiated onto the invoker, it could have been a big difference. Fortunately, we lost the Prophet kill there. It was smart of him to TP immediately. He's anticipating people having dust at this point. The Jug didn't get his ulti off in time, but I don't think he would have been able to. Honestly, the reaction time was very low. I mean, the chances of him grabbing that were very small. Okay, so the ward was on the magic bush. That's where I got spotted from. That's a pretty smart place for your opponents to ward in the mid game like this, because it will decrease it'll stop 2 camps from spawning, which means that that's 2 less places where we can farm. And if there's slightly less places for us to farm, that means that they'll get a slight gold advantage over us. So you can do aggressive warding like that if you're interested. Grab some more mana here. Picked up my smoke. Don't remember what I'm buying. Chainmail? Okay, I think I made a blade mail immediately afterwards. Not necessarily sure if that was the right choice, but I think based on how I used it this game, it wasn't the right choice, but it's very hard to get use out of that item, in my opinion. It's very difficult. So I decided I wanted to make a kill happen because we're kind of just standing around not doing anything.
Illusion.
And there is a clock. We got clock pretty easy. And now we should be able to push. And it's so important that you do this in stagnant games, because any kill means that that's one less person farming, and it gives you a lot of map control as well. We can also push out for about 30 seconds while he's dead here. I tried to blink there, but the Forge Spear was hitting me. I didn't realize.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Wanted to go for that Invoker there, but definitely gonna let him go. This rocket's coming for me, I believe. Yeah. I should have spent my money before I died to the neutral, though. If I would have bought a broadsword or something, then I would have saved like 350 gold. I still lost the gold, but at least I didn't give experience to them. Basically what happened. So I need to be more careful about my blink dagger next time. Oh nice, he died to the Necro 3. That's hilarious. I didn't even realize. I think our courier died as well, so I won't be able to get this for a bit. By the way, if you guys are curious, our Juggernaut, our hard carry, has literally just a phase and a Battle Fury at 28 minutes. So, if you're wondering why I complained about him, this is why. That's why you don't die to a tower and then buy back and say that it's okay, I'll get my farm back. Because you don't get your farm back. It doesn't happen. The only time you should buy back is if you can get kills from it, pretty much. If you can buy back and then pick up kills from the TP back end, then it's worth it. Or if you die before your big ultimate is used, then you can come back and purchase back and get that off. Other than that, I really don't think it's worth it. Or unless you actually are like an insane farmer. Like a Nature's Prophet buyback is not that bad because you get back to the fight immediately. A Phantom Lancer is not horrible. A Tinker is not horrible, for example. I'm actually doing really good damage to the creeps now that my return's maxed out. So it does 22 and 50% of my strength, which is about 35, 36 right now. So I'm doing about 50, almost 60 damage of physical return per attack. So that's pretty good. Now farming here isn't very safe. I knew that, and I was going to back off immediately after this. And I should have just blinked right here. I thought about it, I was like, I could blink. And I decided not to blink. And then this is what happens. There's literally no way for me to get out at that point. Once I get caught and take player damage, I can't blink. I can't stampede because I'm blocked in by trees. And it was really unnecessary for me to die there. So you should always just blink. I knew taking that wave was a little greedy, and if you're a little greedy taking a wave, always blink afterwards. Just do it. It's a little game sense that you'll develop over time. I knew that it was greedy, and I knew there was a chance of me dying there, but just not worth it for one creep wave. Because now I'm dead for 30 seconds, and I lose a little bit of gold, and I give somebody a lot of experience. So if we take a look at where I'm at compared to what I was earlier in the game, I'm now actually equal levels with both Invoker the mid and the offlane here, which is Clockwork. Why can't I open this? I wanna... Can I really not? Alright guys, I can't look at it. Alright, whatever. Anyways, on the same level... actually, I can do it a different way. Let's do it... Your level... So, considering that I started off as like a really under-leveled jungle hero, this is not bad. It's not a bad comeback for somebody that has no farm. And honestly, it mostly comes down to how well you can gank. And contributing in teamfights without feeding, the important part. It's not just about ganking, it's also about not feeding in teamfights. This guy still doesn't have boots, but he does have a Yasha, so he's almost as fast as a regular hero is, I guess. If you guys are curious about last hits, I'm actually higher than both the Clockwork as well as the Elder Titan. You pick up a Yasha now? Okay, so he's got a Yasha. This is, if you're doing well, this should be like a 20... I don't know, like a 23-minute item, something like this. So he's about 7 or 8 minutes behind, assuming a really good game, basically. Like an ideal game. He's behind an ideal game by far. I believe we saw they were Roshaning. So I decided to go on the Invoker. It's a solid Omni Slash. I should have Blade Mailed as I blinked in though, instead of right before I died. Definitely something I have to get used to doing. I always use Blade Mail when I have like 500 HP left. If I just had like 1400 HP instead, I would have reflected at least like 500 pure damage in a team fight, which is a huge amount of damage. It's very hard sometimes to predict when you're expecting to get crapped on, though.
structures are fortified.
I believe he did not have a gem at this point. Yeah, he did not. So I told him to buy a gem. I was like, you obviously need a gem. Nature's Prophet's getting away with everything. What level did I get from that, by the way? Nope, not 1 GPM. You're level. I am now level 15. Okay, there we go. Just hit 15. So I'm getting the stats now. But throwing myself for Invokers is actually really worth it, because again, that's their mid hero, so throwing my life away in a sense to get the initiation on him is completely worth it. Gyrocopter killed me and all, but the fight was not bad for us. It's also useful to just use Stampede at the start of the team fight. I didn't think about this until after I used it, but just giving everybody on my team max movement speed for, what, 2.75 seconds? 3.75 seconds. It's a big deal, especially because we were chasing. We were coming from a ramp into another area. We weren't exactly set up, we didn't necessarily have the best positioning, but getting everybody a max movement speed allows them to get where they need to be at the start of the fight. Haste for everybody is a big deal for that small amount of time, especially if your teammates, or especially if your opponents have a lot of slows, like if you're playing against a Venomancer or something like that, it is the best for keeping allies alive. They had a lot more hard stuns this game, and things that were a little bit harder to predict, but I was hoping they would be high ground there, which maybe wouldn't have been worth it because Lena was not around, but... Nature's Prophet again is split pushing us. They were able to pick them off. Getting kills on the split pushers is so important though, because it does prevent them from snowballing and it means that they won't be able to split push for a while. And usually during these downtimes where you're being split push, you need to push out the lane heavily. So, for example, in this case, they should go to the top lane, they should go push that out. Usually it's not that worth the jungle. Or at least it causes you some trouble if you jungle against split pushers. It's a big deal as well.
Roshan has fallen to the Dire.
I don't think I expanded on that thought well enough. If you're jungling, you're not pushing out the lanes, basically, is the idea. You want to push out the lanes to prevent them from split pushing you. So if you're jungling instead of that, it's going to constantly keep your lanes in an area on your side of the map where you're always at threat, basically. I was really hoping Jug would be here because I wanted to fight this. Unfortunately, I was taking Forged Spirit damage. This prevents me from blinking. Kind of walked into that one. Should have at least Blade Mailed for that. And my Stampede essentially did nothing. I didn't do very well that fight. I think that was largely mistakes. The Forged Spirits really made it tough though, because I couldn't blink.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I should have Blade Mailed right here as well.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Just waiting for a blink.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
If I would have saved my Stampede, maybe I would have been able to save the Jug. It's probably the sloppiest fight that I had the whole game, I think, right there. Unless I'm mistaking anything. So back to the base, I've got 2,000 gold now. I think I was building a Halberd next, if I remember correctly. I decided I wanted some more utility. Since I'm not really in a position where I can like Uber tank, I mean, I could go for a heart, hypothetically. A heart wouldn't be terrible because it reflects more damage from return, gives you an extra 20 damage for return. Gives you a lot of survivability to work with, it makes my blade mail a lot better, but I think I opted to do something that's more utility based that still gives me some tank, and that was actually picking up a Sange. So I decided to sell my wand, I pick up a Sange. This gives you 26 damage total if you're a strength hero, and it gives you 16 strength, which is like, it's like 240 HP, something like that. Pretty good. Honestly, not bad. The maim is not something you really bank on, but it's just kind of like a damage and HP item. Once you grab the Halberd, though, which is obviously my point, I don't want to make a Sange Yasha because I'm not about the movement speed. I already have a blink, and I have max movement speed to Stampede, so Sange Yasha is not worth it. But grabbing the Halberd is really useful because it allows me to disable heroes like Clockwork, who are right-clicking, or Invoker, or more importantly, Nature's Prophet here that usually doesn't pick up a BKB. So if I grab a Heaven's Halberd, it gives me offensive disable against those heroes if they don't have magic immunity, and most importantly, it also gives me 25% evasion, which means that if a carry is going ham on me, they're less likely to kill me. So we're going to smoke again. We want to grab some more kills. We do see the Elder Titan going through the jungle, and then we're also going to spawn Invoker. I wanted to blink on him, but unfortunately... I couldn't believe this guy puck ulted that, by the way. That's a complete waste. Huge waste there. I initiated, we had a lot of people hitting him. Lina stun maybe would have come. it was such a big waste. But whatever, there's 2 dead heroes. We could hypothetically continue pushing mid. We got 2 kills out of that smoke, absolutely worth it. And now we're getting split pushed again, so we'll see. We might have to go back pretty soon. So I'm looking for opportunities to go in again. For some reason our whole team is backing up. I'm not really sure. We maybe could have just wailed on that, but looks like we're going out.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Unfortunately, my TP is a little too late there. Pick up the ranged Necro for 100 gold, and I should be able to get some more detection or something. I think we still had a gem, so I didn't really need to buy detection. I don't remember where I used my dust. Oh, I think it was on Invoker when I blinked mid. Because I wanted to make sure that we could see him. Maybe I'm deciding what to buy, or I'll tabbed. Always buy a second TP. That way if I TP somewhere, I'll be back in. And I do buy another dust, just to make sure. So Jug has farmed a BKB relatively fast since his last items. Battle Fury does help a lot, and as well as Yasha for farming fast on Jug. It's nice to have a natural crit as well, because it means you can get free gold pretty easily. It's not worth it getting up there. What's my level doing? I am now at level 16, which is fine. I don't really need to be any higher than this. Extra stat points are fantastic and all, but... So I was kind of hoping to spot somebody up here that was solo, and I did spot the Prophet and the Elder Titan. It's a pretty big mistake for me to go in there, I think. I kind of just assumed that they would be solo. Which obviously did not end up happening. That blink was so bad. I have no idea what's going on. But anyways, we just lost like 3 heroes because of my bad initiation. I decided to go on something that I shouldn't have. I checked to see if he popped BKB and he did not as well, so pretty unfortunate fight for us. We lost 3. And that's the responsibility of playing Initiator. You have to like really make sure that you go in at the right times. Otherwise, stuff like that happens. You lose 3 heroes because we definitely shouldn't have lost Puck though. Puck threw his life away with mistakes. He blinked towards them after he phase shift. That was a panic blink if I've ever seen one. Anyways, I'm up in 5 seconds. We might be able to defend this. We'll see. I think I was gonna wait until... Oh, he rocketed me as I was initiating. That was the worst. Probably should have considered going back in rather than getting mana here, since Timbersaw went in. And the Omni Slash was like glorious. Man, I was like just about to jump.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So, nice play by the Clockwork to get out of that. Should have stayed a little closer to him. Basically, the place where he put the cogs put me in a bad spot where I couldn't blink. I guess I could have blinked down to his level rather than going up around, but small mistake. we lost the kill there, but it still worked out pretty nicely. The Omni Slash from the Jug was fantastic, and because they were all grouped up and there weren't very many creeps there, so they took a bunch of damage. That helped out a lot. And after I whiffed my my blink stun, I think I should have stayed around. The stun duration, or the stun cooldown, was actually pretty high at 13 seconds, but the amount of time that it took for me to go to the fountain and back again was definitely more than 13. I think I should have stayed around. It wasn't worth me getting the extra 100 mana. And I needed to be more wary of heroes like Clockwork. Lena does as well, of course, because she's getting hooked, but I need to make sure that I watch my Blink Dagger before I go for initiations. I always like stare at what's happening with the enemy heroes, and I get really scared. The Blink was actually pretty late there. I took the time to get one more CS. So I've almost got my Halberd. I think at this point I was, yeah, he was giving me the gem, I believe. I really wanted 50 more gold to get the Halberd, but unfortunately the team was kind of pushing, so I had to go. I think I decided to take like a, yeah, neutral game. There we go. So I'll have the Heaven's Halberd now. My mana pool's actually okay at this point. Main growth doesn't look too horrible. That's probably mostly because of the blade mail. I think that gives me 10. Yeah, 10. So that's like 130 mana. So I've got a Heaven's Halberd now. This gives me evasion. I can use this offensively against Prophet and stuff. I don't think Prophet has a BKB. I think he has a Manta. Yeah, he does have a Manta. Unfortunately, my stun missed. Kind of wish the puck would have waited for other people to show up first before he went in. It really is like small things like that for ganking that makes the difference. I mean, Clock could be dead right now for free. He was way out of position. We could have punished that. But instead, Puck tried to solo him, kind of. My strength is now about 100, so I'm reflecting like 75 physical damage per hit. It's pretty good. Pretty clear after the stun that he was an illusion. Guy's gonna get a lot of damage from that. It's like 4 heroes. Let's see how much damage he gets. Alright, 91, here it comes. 232. It's freaking crazy. So much damage. More TPs? Did I buy a TP? Doesn't look like it. I was a little antsy about carrying the gem here because I've actually been pretty squishy still, despite being Centaur. Pretty squishy. Drug picks up an MKB, so everything's looking okay now. I think I was telling the team what to do with typing now. That's why I keep stopping. I think I have a smoke coming. Yeah, we're trying to get more smoke ganks off. Basically, we need to grab kills because they're mostly just like out farming the map on us. So we're gonna smoke 3 heroes. We were really mad that the Prophet kept going top, so we said, push up the lane slightly. We wait 30 seconds, and then we kill him. So we were able to get the Prophet. Lower level Prophets will usually do repetitive tasks and things that are pretty easy to predict. So once I finally like sat and I thought about it for 3 seconds, I was like, all right. Top lane's gonna get pushed out, he's gonna come right back, and then we're all gonna kill him. And once we kill him, we're gonna push. And once Prophet's dead, then we don't have to worry about split push. And that gives us an opportunity to actually go make something happen. So we get the mid tower, they're actually pushing bot, which is ridiculous because Prophet isn't alive. That ends up being the real one. I really wanted to catch these guys if possible. Fortunately, we're forcing this really hard. I have to TP back to base because I'm completely out of mana. Alright, they're all dead anyways. I think my allies are actually still fighting here. They should have backed after the, after we all ran through the ice wall, that's when they should have backed. They shouldn't have forced that. I should have turned that on so much earlier.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
They did take the bot racks, I believe, so.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
Yeah, if I would have turned on my blade mail a lot earlier, that could have been really useful. I just always forget about it for some reason. I got Invoker at least. I could use Stampede here.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack. Radiant's top barracks has fallen.
God, he's so slow. If he actually had boots,
top barracks are under
he would
attack.
easily be able to get away from me. As soon as I got the stone off, he was definitely dead. Seriously though, if he just got boots, he would have been able to close distance, or not close distance, make distance, and then maybe escape somehow. But whatever. That's what happens when you don't buy boots on profit, guys. Become a liability sometimes. Love when the creeps just die. It's great. It's so good. I'm doing approximately 60, 80, 85 damage now per right click on me. Pretty good. It's like a support right click right now. So, a bunch of core heroes are down, so we're gonna go push. Preparing for the initiation. I did blade mail this one. Man, cogs are like the worst.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Really good blink for me. I did kill the Forge Spirits though.
Are fortified. Dire's middle barracks.
So now we just gotta kill the melee racks and we gotta back.
Dire's middle barracks has fallen.
He definitely stayed away too long. If we're that close to people respawning, he just needs to kill the ranged barracks or the melee barracks and get out. There's no point staying. And him being a little bit behind like that just cost us a lot. Because now our carry's dead again for 90 seconds. I don't know if he has buyback or not.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
He does actually have buyback this time, but he's pretty close to a Manta or whatever else he wants to make, so him spending on that would not be very useful for us.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
I don't remember what I bought after this point. I could make a heart. A heart wouldn't be bad with the Halberd and the blade mill. An AC wouldn't be too terrible either. BKB is never really a bad thing, especially now that it stops the cogs. The cogs are one of the main problems that I'm having when I go to initiate, outside of using blink. It's a pretty good sized creep wave here that I have to kind of take responsibility for. It's pretty easy as well, just because I do reflect so much physical damage now. And they're going to sneak Roshan from us, which couldn't really do very much about because we didn't have wards up. And even if we did, we couldn't go because Jug wasn't alive. This wave's a little dangerous. I heard the rocket coming, I was just about to blink. So, again, similar as last time, should have just gotten out. Grabbing an extra wave, especially after Roshan. I knew they were Roshaning, and then they were shifting down. It's like that message in your head where you're like, oh, I should probably not be here. I also lost the gem, by the way, so losing the gem was pretty stupid. You always have that message in your head, you're like, no, it's fine, I'll just stand around for a bit, it's gonna be okay. And then you lose everything. I had to buy a new dust as a result. My other dust is sitting on the ground there. But everybody's up.
Radiant's top barracks are under
I think it disconnected at this point. Oh yeah, my power went out. No, I got a blue screen. I forgot. is where I got a blue screen. I think they paused about now.
Fortified.
Alright, so there's the pause. We're going to speed this up a little bit while we wait for my computer to unblue screen. I was really scared that they didn't pause too, because I was just about to team fight. Like, they were pushing high ground and I knew that, so if they didn't pause, it could have been really, really bad for us. Alright, back in the game.
Hibernate.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle barracks are under attack. Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
Triple kill! An honor for you.
Fortunately, we lost another racks.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
Not very good. At this point, it gets a profit. It's so hard to come back. All he has to do is basically just cast his ulti every chance he gets, and all the waves are going to push quite a bit.
The glands are calling.
We decided that we basically needed a GG push mid. Our Juggernaut stayed behind to defend. I don't completely agree with him being the one to defend. I think other people could have been better, maybe. But bought boots of travel. I could have also sold my Ring of Regen and my Ring of Protection, but I didn't bother.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack. Dire's
Well, they got the
middle
barracks.
has fallen.
Can we get more is the question. I'm not really sure. I don't remember. Oh, I actually got the wrong one. I didn't realize. It's actually pretty good damage reflection.
Unstoppable. Double kill.
Really wanted that healing ward. So good. I'm doing really dumb things this last fight. Need that regen so bad.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower, Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's ancient is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's ancient is under attack.
So that was just enough time to end up winning all the team fights, killing them as they respawned, and we took it. Every game against Prophet is so hard. Takes a lot of effort to prevent them from taking all of your buildings, but we were able to do it.
What bauble is this?
So that's basically the lesson here is that ganking is super important. If you're really behind, it is a really big deal. It's so important to be able to gank opponents and try to catch up some of the EXP and the gold that you don't have. If we would have gotten a smoke gank off on the Invoker in the early game, for example, it would have been a really big advantage for us, but we didn't get it. So things like that would have helped a lot, I think. Alright, so that's Centaur. Blink is really good. Try to blink combo people. Obviously mine was pretty delayed, so I had to play pretty safe, but usually you can play a bit more aggressive if you're in more of a safe farmer role. If you're in safe farmer, I recommend the same thing. Go Tranquil Boots into Blink Dagger, and at that point you can go and get kills in other lanes and secure snowball advantages for your allies. Hopefully you would have some kind of other semi-carry in the mid lane, like a Templar Assassin or something like that, because Centaur isn't the hardest carry by any means. He's definitely more of a semi-carry, but you can build him like that if you want to do like Armlet AC or something like that with a heart is an option. But that's a lot of items, and they will make you really strong though. So, alright, that's it for the Centaur game. Thanks everyone for watching. I will see you guys later, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Bye.